Okay, so today we have lesson 7 of U.S. history, and we're going to look at the early European explorers, the first Europeans across the Atlantic Ocean, and we're looking at the time period throughout this chapter from really 1400 to 1750 is when most of the explorers traveled from Europe to the New World. However, the Vikings in about AD 1000, 400 to 500 years before, actually accidentally landed in Canada. What is today is Canada, so we'll talk about them a little bit as well. Let's talk about the Vikings. Although Christopher Columbus gets a lot of credit for discovering America, at least from the European point of view, it was actually the Vikings that were the first Europeans that we know of to land in North America. The Vikings were people from Scandinavia, Northern Europe. They were travelers. They used boats to travel, such as the one here. They were known for their raiding, but they actually did a lot of farming as well. They were not a unified group. They were different bands and tribes of people, but they struck the terror in the hearts of many of the other European peoples, as they were known for pillaging and raiding and conquering and taking slaves, and lots of things that we'd probably consider very horrible by today's standards. However, they were great explorers. And as the Viking people began to grow and thrive, things got crowded in Scandinavia. They needed more land. So the Viking explorers took off, and they found an island that was very hospitable. It had a decent climate, a climate they were comfortable with, and where they could live and thrive. And they didn't want anyone else to find this island, so they called it Iceland, even though Iceland is actually, because of ocean currents, volcanic activity, and the wind currents, fairly warm, and it has a lot of greenery on it. They call it Iceland. After that got crowded, they went further, and they ended up in Greenland, which was a huge island, but very inhospitable, covered with ice. So naturally they called it Greenland, trying to fake people out to get people to go to Greenland instead of Iceland. As they were exploring the coast of Greenland, Leif Erikson, the son of Eric the Red, who's one of the most famous and feared Vikings, got caught in a storm, and his men and his crew, his boats, got blown into the coast of Canada. They were in a new world, and they stayed there for maybe 1, 2, 3 years, a few short years. They stayed in the New World. They did not like it, so they turned around and they came back to Iceland and eventually into Scandinavia. Because they didn't stay and they didn't make much impact, I guess, is one of the main reasons why we don't really give them too much credit. However, if you think about it, although they found Canada and North America by accident, so did Christopher Columbus. He didn't know it was there either. Another important person in early explorations was Prince Henry the Navigator. Prince Henry the Navigator was very, very wealthy, and he was from Portugal, and he had a passion for exploring. He did not want to explore himself, so he would pay for other people to go exploring for him. He used his vast resources of gold and treasure to buy boats, to hire teachers, to teach people how to sail and navigate and make maps, and he sent out crews of people all along the coast of Africa, trying to reach India by boat. They wanted to reach India by boat because there were riches in India, spices, silks, exotic animals, exotic things, and there were profits to be made. You could carry many more items in a boat than you could on the backs of animals. So he wanted boats to reach India, and he paid for it. He was willing to pay the money to make it happen. He sent out these sailors with great risk to himself, battling storms, getting lost, bad weather, and the constant fear was that if you went out too far, you might sail off the end of the earth, because everyone believed the world was flat at that time. However, Prince Henry's navigation school spurred explorations around the world and made Portugal a leader in the world's exploring. What can we learn from this? Learning creates growth. As we started exploring, as we had more human curiosity, we began to learn more and more things. And it made our societies grow, both in Europe and eventually in the New World. It made our societies improve. And this is a huge benefit to everyone. The technology that the explorers invented was used for centuries after that. Some of it is still used today. As we go forth here into more modern times and continue to advance as a society over the next decades to come, hopefully we'll continue to explore. We are looking to explore into outer space farther, the depths of the oceans farther, maybe even into the earth farther. And as we do that, we will develop new technology that will probably be helpful for everyone, and we will make many new discoveries. There's no telling how many different discoveries we may run into. There's probably a good chance in the next 30, 40 years, a human will go to Mars, and we'll find out firsthand what it's like there. So there's no telling what discoveries are ahead of us, but the key is we've got to keep learning and keep exploring and keep growing both individually and as a society. Last point I want to make today is the question, why did these early explorers risk their lives? Risk sailing off the end of the earth to explore? Well, they did it for 3 reasons. We call it the 3 G's. God, gold, and glory. They wanted to spread Christianity to the world. That is the God portion of this. They felt like that the only true way, the only true religion was Christianity, and they wanted to spread that to the native peoples. However, although the Europeans said that was their motivation, that was a far lesser motivation to the gold and the glory. The explorers wanted to get rich as possible. They wanted to exploit the land. They wanted to take the resources. They wanted to conquer the native people. And they wanted to bring riches back to their home country. And as they did this, they knew they would become famous. If you look at the earliest explorer, famous explorer Marco Polo, he walked to China, he brought back valuable things, and he became extremely rich and extremely famous because of that. Of course, other people wanted to copy that. So, in summary of this lesson, the Vikings were the first Europeans to come to America, even though they did it by accident. Of course, Columbus came to America by accident as well. Prince Henry the Navigator had a huge impact on explorations and the furtherment of humankind with the money he spent on his navigation school. And then finally, why did the people do this? Why did these explorers risk their life? They did it for God, gold, and glory, mainly gold. Thanks for paying attention. I hope this was helpful.